only a few days into its construction. And look at this. Already concerns about the safety of shipping containers being placed along gaps in the southern border. NewsNation witnessed several migrants squeezing through. See that man right there? Even as those containers were put in place. Now, the containers, which are approximately 40 feet long, weigh more than 8,000 pounds apiece, are being stacked on top of each other. And NewsNation correspondent Nichole Berlie is live outside Yuma, Arizona there. So, Allie, how is the state reacting to these latest developments?
Yeah, so one of the biggest developments right now, Nichole, is these two shipping containers here that we're looking at. These actually toppled over, bringing some questions as to what really is the effectiveness of these shipping containers and what the integrity is of these shipping containers. Now, we did talk with Governor Doug Ducey's office earlier today. We asked him what they thought was the situation here, because initially speculation was that the wind had blown these over. However, the governor's office says that they believe it was human caused. It was not the wind at all, because these things weigh about as much as an F-450. And you didn't see any F-450s toppled down. You didn't see any portable toilets blown over. You didn't see any trees down. So that led them to believe that this was human caused. And there is some structural damage to these shipping containers, to that red one there. There are actual holes in the bottom of it that look like machinery was used to tip these over. They were pushed in the direction of the canal. They were pushed in the direction of Mexico. So that leads them to believe that, again, that this was human caused. Now, these toppled over on Sunday is what I'm being told, around midnight. And then they were back in place as early as 7 a.m. when crews arrived here on Monday morning. So it was kind of like if a tree falls in the forest. It wasn't really anything that made a big impact, because this is at the end of one of the walls that they kind of had created here. Now, the governor's office does tell us when it comes to these toppled over containers, they say, quote, "This tells us that we hit a nerve. Someone doesn't like what we are doing. Someone or some organization wants to keep that gap open." Now, I did ask the governor's office if they are pursuing an investigation into this, these toppled over shipping containers. They tell me that they're not spending time on an investigation, but rather they're focusing their time and their efforts on completing these barriers, completing these walls that they're building with these shipping containers. Now, we did talk with the county supervisor, Jonathan Lines, earlier today about what he thinks when it comes to the effectiveness and the integrity of these structures. Take a listen.
We've seen a significant reduction in people crossing the border already. Just the wall being in place, or the Connex boxes being in place, is sending a message that the border is closed and that people are no longer welcome to just walk across the border.
So, Nichole, what's really interesting here, you see this container just kind of ends here, and the governor's office telling us earlier today that it's what they saw with the toppling over was kind of like it was more of a making a point situation. And the reason why this ends is because this is actually sovereign land. The governor doesn't have the authority to put these shipping containers on tribal land. So that is why this ends here. Now, I did reach out to both Senators Kelly and Sinema to find out what their take is on the governor taking matters into his own hands and not waiting for the federal government. We know they do have plans to fill these holes as well. I have not yet heard back from them, Nichole.
And Allie, obvious question here, but that sovereign land that you're standing next to, that means people can cross right through there, correct?
Yep, people can just walk right around here. So that's definitely a logistical issue that they're going to have to deal with and figure out how to make that work for illegal border crossings here.
All right, Nichole Berlie has been all over this. Thank you for that. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.